Hi everyone, it's Rebecca Mara, and I'm an intuitive coach and an energy healer. And I want to talk today about the energy bodies of Enneagram 9s, which is an important topic to me just because I see it come up in sessions so often. I also have a lot of friends that are Enneagram 9s, the Peacemakers, and it took me a while, but I started to really understand how they work. And I want to offer this to people who understand a little bit about their Enneagram types already that would like a little bit of assistance on a more spiritual or energy body level. So, just to summarize, the Enneagram 9 is the peacemaker, and it's an adaptation that kind of split off from one's original nature, one's original essence. Usually, when someone was a child, almost always when you're a little child, it was a way of getting your needs met, getting the love that you need, getting the peace that you needed in your family by becoming a peacemaker. So if you're okay and you're keeping the harmony in the family, if you're keeping mom and dad happy, if you're keeping homeostasis, that was the primary value growing up in order to keep a sense of control in the home. So maybe mom or dad had volatile emotions, or maybe they just didn't have a lot of time to devote to kids. And if you became a peacemaker, there was a reason that you needed to keep peace because there was some kind of stress or turbulence. And by being the peacemaker, you could feel safe by having a little bit more internal calm, by making sure everybody's emotions were okay, by making sure that everyone was happy. If someone was unhappy, then you made them a little bit happier somehow and became kind of like the family glue or the one that just harmonized the field when it was really stressful or turbulent, which is a very intelligent, adaptive strategy and a very sweet one for a little kid. The problem is that as peacemakers become adults, they are still vigilant of the field of what's happening with everyone around them, and they're tracking what's going on and making sure that it's okay more than they're tracking, like, am I okay? Or one of the main conflicts is that they end up denying their own needs. So if I grow up and I have this value of keeping homeostasis in my house for forever with my family, or keeping my parents happy, or keeping my loved ones happy, or keeping my husband or wife happy, I'm never really going to be that in tune with what I need. And I'm going to be tracking other people, and their values and their needs are going to come above mine most of the time. So this is really, really important to be able to identify this pattern, because the peacemakers will, when things are uncomfortable or there's conflict, they'll automatically go to what's like soft and cushy. Like they're kind of like energetically, they have like little pillows all over themselves where it's like, yay! And they're great to be around because they're so easygoing and they're so approachable and they're so soft. They're such soft people. And they're kind of like go with the flow, and they're like, sure, that works. Like, I don't want drama. I don't want conflict. And they kind of like are just like, sure, just keeping the peace and keeping the harmony and saying yes, actually a lot more than they want to. So one of the really important things for the peacemakers is to start to realize when you're a no, like when you actually don't want to do something. And instead of having this value of, well, I should, it's tuning into the isness, like what's actually happening for you, and being like, well, maybe I don't have to do that right now just to keep someone happy. Like maybe I actually get to take care of myself right now. Or maybe I don't want to have bad boundaries in this situation anymore because I keep getting walked on. That's one of the main things that happen to the peacemakers, that they keep getting walked over because they've made their needs and their boundaries less important than other people's. And so what happens in their energy body is that it's really kind of like cushy and soft and like floaty, and people like being around peacemakers because they're just like easygoing and like they want no drama and they just want to be uplifted. They're known to be the best nappers because they just like being cozy. They don't want conflict. They don't want, to have the boat rocked. But then there's actually this underlying tension, like a hot wire, way deep underneath that cushioning, like under all that protection, is the heat of that child that didn't get to ask for what it needed for so many years. It's the child that nobody tuned into, and nobody asked this child, are you really okay with this? What do you actually need? It's okay to say no. It's okay to have your own needs here. It's really important to have your own needs here. And your needs are honored and loved and celebrated. Like, your needs are precious. It's not just all about us. Like, we're not just here to take from you. So being able to, for a 9 to be able to say, you know what, I think I'm too tired to go out tonight, or I don't think I have the energy to do this favor for you, but I love you. So starting to set these boundaries and checking in and being like, hey, do I really want this, or do I really feel this, or am I just trying to keep you happy? It's really, really important for the 9 to start to find their voice. And unfortunately, they've buried their anger, which is connected to their own boundaries, for so many years that it can be hard to find. Because usually the peacemakers are like, no, I'm good. Nope, this is good. Nope, this is good. But the truth is that they've just disengaged from their own fire and their own boundary and their own anger in order to keep the peace, when they need to be able to start finding that again. Like, what is actually not okay with me? Like, what are these ways that I've let people treat me where they're kind of walking on me and I have just let them? So being able to start to find the anger without all this blame and being like, you know what, that isn't okay that I do everything for everyone else and they don't return the favor. Or it isn't okay that I always do what you say, but when I need something, you don't listen. So finding that anger is really, really important part of the 9 becoming more integrated and being able to be their true selves that they didn't get to be when they were little kids. When you're a little kid and you don't get to fully be and express who you are because it's not safe, or because someone will react negatively and you just have to keep the peace, there's a part of the true self that gets denied and buried. And that's what we want to recover. We really want to recover that true self. And that's where the magic is. Because that inner child with their needs, when their needs are precious and revered and they can be met again, all of a sudden you start coming to life in a new way. Like, oh, you know what? I might have all these ideas of how I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be for you, but when I check in with myself, that's not true for me anymore. So there's this whole new level of like integrity with self when you start tuning into your isness, like the nature of you, not the way that you should be or that you think you should be or what you think you should do for people. But when you start checking with like, what's really true for me? Like, does it hurt me to go out on a limb here again? Or does it, do I feel kind of disrespected or belittled, or like my needs aren't as important as someone else's? So just tuning into what's really happening for you, like what you really need, what you're really okay with and what you're not okay with, is really, really important part of it's like untrapping your essence. Because if your essence is buried in conditioning and what you can be and can't be versus what you are, there's this huge separation that happens and you never have full access to yourself. But when you start tuning into what your isness is and start to really revere it, it's like, what is my nature that I can't choose? Just like, what is the nature of a tree? Like, it just is. It's going to grow the way that it grows. It's going to be what it is. It's not good or bad. But for a 9, uncovering that essential nature, which are the true needs and true desires and true boundaries of like, I like this and I don't like this. And I get to start standing up for my inner child and giving her the opportunity to have needs. Like, she gets to have a voice finally, whereas before I just had to kind of like go with the flow and stuff things down. So starting to find that boundary of like, what's my note? Like, what do I desire? Or even like, can I ask for what I desire? Even if I'm afraid that it might rock the boat. If I say, you know what, I actually need you to show me love in a way that feels like more attuned, that's a really, really important move for an Enneagram 9, because they're asking for what they need instead of just going with the flow and not making anyone uncomfortable. And that's where growth can happen for yourself and in your relationships. So if I go back to what I was originally talking about with the energy field and the energy body of the Enneagram 9, what I find when I work on people is that they usually have it's just like this fluffy cushion. Like their tissues actually tend to be really soft, which is kind of funny that the body mirrors what's happening energetically and emotionally. But they tend to have like these really soft, like cozy teddy bear kind of like tissues. I'm not saying everybody does, but this is coding. It's making on the outside everything okay that didn't get to have a voice or isn't okay inside. So starting to get really in contact and not dissociate from your actual needs and feelings is really, really important. So you're kind of like tuning into like really allowing the sensations of what's real for me, what do I really need, what am I really feeling right now, because a lot of times they aren't even aware that they're upset about a boundary being crossed. So when you start meeting that band of tension around not being able to be your true self or not being able to express your needs or set boundaries and all of those other things, when you start to feel that, all of a sudden there's this extra power that's unleashed in your system, and you start feeling like yourself. You start being able to be in integrity with yourself and assert boundaries so that you can go in the direction that you actually want to go in your life, whether it's emotionally or in the material world or in relationships or in your career. You have to know what it is that you need and want, and you need to revere it, and to not be afraid of confrontation or asking for something that you need. It's really important. Or saying, you know what, this isn't okay with me and I love you. Or this isn't okay with me and I have to go because I'm in integrity with my isness. So here are some examples of how to work with the energy body of the Enneagram 9, and I hope that this sheds a little bit of light onto what's important here about being the peacemaker and moving from being the peacemaker and the good one to the one that gets to have their own life and gets to have their own purpose and gets to have their path instead of someone else's path. It's a really, really beautiful journey. So this is where we kind of like stray from essence, and in doing so, we're able to come back to essence and to discover who we really are. And that's a really, really great gift. So I hope that this video is helpful, and send you all lots of care. Feel free to comment if you have any questions, and if you desire, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Okay. Thank you.